Talking about Venezuela once again. Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 called monetary preparedness. RTD News Check-In, Sunday edition. I wanted to check in for a quick minute and share with you some thoughts as I begin to put more of the pieces of the puzzle together as to why the digital asset space, and more particular the Bitcoin project, is really shaping out to be what was predicted and told 34 years ago as the world currency. So I got to share some thoughts, some ideas, put together a little visual aid that I thought was worth bringing to your attention this Sunday. And won't be long, but just wanted to check in real quick and share my 2 cents on some things. And once again, it's one of the things where the proof is in the pudding, in a sense, as far as how everything is lining up. But then again, will everyone receive it that way and be open to the possibility of everything being strategically planned and coordinated based upon the information I'm going to present today? So as always, for those that are tuning in, if you're new to the community, welcome to the community. Definitely hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. And during our Monday through Thursday live streams, you can call, let your voice be heard. But want to just present a couple things and let you guys chew on it, do what you must with it. But to me, it's just it's hard to turn down these things just because I'm very critical as well as skeptical of this digital transformation that is just it's lining up too good for me to not pass the opportunity to share my 2 cents. So looking forward to doing that. But before I dive any further, I will jump in the chat and just check to make sure my audio is well, and then I'll just jump right in and let you guys do what you must with this. But also, I challenge you, for my people who are on the fence, or for those that are already 100% sold on the idea of Bitcoin in particular. And of course, we got a lot of XRP people out there as well. So Bitcoin, XRP, no matter what, is software written by somebody for a purpose. And those people who were a part of that, they're at the top of the food chain as far as who and how and what they're doing it for. And it's not to provide you freedom during a great reset agenda. But enough of me ranting. So let me just share with you the visual I put together. So on the screen here, I did the Economist, like the Economist counter, or the Economist cover counter to that, for my own sake here. And so actually, I like the idea of probably creating what I call the Banksters Magazine. And so I was trying to figure out a good name for it. I tried a couple different topics, but I think this is, volume 1 of the Banksters Magazine. And so I'm definitely going to do more of these and put some interesting artwork on the cover, and then share my 2 cents on it and let you guys chime in as well. And if we have anybody that want to contribute to the Banksters Magazine, feel free to let me know. Definitely will be open to entertaining people sharing, whether it be written or video content to incorporate into the same subject matter, because ultimately it's designed to shine light on the globalist agenda, because the Economist magazine, owned by, or partially owned by, one of the wealthiest oligarch family that runs this entire government structure, political, monetary structure, they're shareholders in this magazine, the Economist, rather. And I did a video a while back, so I'll probably link to that beneath this. But anyway, let me just stop ranting, dive in further. So one thing I love to do is connect the pieces of the puzzle together to hopefully make things appear more realistic, rather than just this illusionary, oh, Bitcoin is here to save us type of thing. Okay, whatever. But how do we even get here? How do we get here? That's the biggest thing. How do we get to the point where people are looking for digital something or another, whatever project it is, to provide you financial options, financial freedom, whatever you might want to call it? How do we get here? And I think the Economist cover and this Banksters cover will do a good job of trying to let you know, or put the pieces of the puzzle together as to how we got here, why we're here, and how the supposed solution was already given to us a long time ago, to be 34 years to be exact. So anyway, all right. So before I did it, so just to give you an idea what's going on here, the Banksters cover, and this is all in light of this cover right here. So I've been using this cover for the last 5 years, give or take, referencing this current transition and how everything we're experiencing now is a part of a designed plan that was given to us by the same people responsible for the destruction of the current monetary structure. And it's all written on our cover. You got a coin, a phoenix, you got burning currencies, you got a time frame there, 2018, and we're 4 years past that. But how convenient that 34 years ago, the Economist cover told us where we will be at. And so this is to play on that more. And when, what really brought my attention to this is last week, because it didn't get much talk about on this channel here, because I was talking about other things. But in El Salvador, central banks were gathering to talk about Bitcoin and whatever else they might have been talking about. But how convenient that the same people responsible for our problems are running to a certain country that was the first of its kind to announce some form of a world currency approach towards a protocol. And all of a sudden, like, people are, oh yeah, adoption is coming. Oh yeah, it's coming. Oh really? Anyway, okay. So hopefully, with that being the case, I can lead into more of what I want to talk about. But real quick, so let me just go back here. So I put together this visual aid here. So at the very bottom, I'm gonna walk you guys through what I was thinking when I put this together. The play on the Economist cover. I put some wording at the top, mimicking, the play, the four lines here, just stuff that I've talked about before, but I'll just show you guys what I'm referring to here. Anyway, it says World Economic Forum meets to discuss global money. Central bank prepare for Bitcoin. CBDC interoperability is ready. Regulatory clarity is for the banks. And so that's something I've talked about for a while. But let's go to the very beginning. At the very bottom of this, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the current structure that's in play now. Central banking model, fractional reserve lending, fiat currency, debt-based currencies. It saturates the world with debt. Everything implodes. Voila, we're here. Okay, who's one of the key players in that? It happens to be at the very bottom of this. And if I can get down there real quick, I wish I had the ability to zoom in, but I don't. But as you guys can see here, the Rothschilds. So to give an idea as to this whole idea of the need for a world currency originated with the Economist cover. And so if I was to go to the Economist cover, January 9th, 1988, volume 306, pages 9 through 12 gives us a little bit of what's underway right now. And I'll read this to you just because I threw in some additional words. So this is an extract from the actual article that was in that Economist magazine. So I'll just read something and you can go through and read more. But, the highlight stuff plays well. And this is a little something to grab from Zero Hedge. And I'll just throw in a key word just to let me know how it sounds. It says, 30 years from now, Americans, Japanese, Europeans, and people in many other rich countries and some relatively poor ones will probably be paying for their shopping with the same currency. We're not there yet, but it's coming. Prices will be quoted not in dollars, yen, or Deutschmarks, but in, let's say, Satoshis. So I put in the word Satoshis because as of right now, a lot of maxis, a lot of people out there in the crypto space are beyond excited to start pricing things in Satoshis. And what I mean by that, Saylor came out with a new symbol. Like Michael Saylor came out with a new symbol referencing the Satoshi, which is the smallest microfraction of a Bitcoin that you can spend on the Lightning Network. And so I just thought Satoshis played in quite well for that. And then what else it says is the Satoshis will be favored by companies and shoppers because it will be more convenient than today's national currencies, which by then will all seem a quaint cause of much disruption to economic life in the last 20th century. So, of course, they're referring to the burning fiat currencies, the digital representations of those as well. And so here we are, voila. Get ready for a world currency. And so what I did was basically said, are you ready for Bitcoin? And so this is a play on the Rothschilds. And so if the world is having problems because of the monetary system that is ran by central banks, then when you get central banks running to a country, are they running from their own problems or are they running to their suggested solution is the question I'm putting out there for you guys. And so some people are like, well, Rothschild, central banks. Okay, so let's just look at this real quick. And of course, this is no order, but I'm just going with the flow of things. I got some stuff up here, but here's a complete list of banks owned, controlled by the Rothschild family. And so, of course, if you're tuning this channel, you all know the history of the monetary structure and how Amschel Rothschild, the granddaddy of central banking model, his children lent to governments and countries and kings and queens, and they own everything of substance on this planet. This family has their hands in on, including the Federal Reserve Bank. So I'll give you an idea. It says this family has been around for more than 230 years. And so As of right now, it says the grand plan of the first scheme of this influence is to create a global mononation. Global mononation. Okay, so keep it moving. It says a list. Let me give you a list. Let me see the list. The total number. Let me see the total number. What's the total number? Total number. Um, so here's the complete list of banks. So let me see if there's a number here. And this is all leading up to something. So here's a list of all the banks that is under the influence or control of this particular family and all the tiered puppets underneath. And so we got the Rothschild, all central banks of the world: Afghanistan, Albania, Algeria, Argentina, Armenia, Aruba, AB, Bahamas. You name your favorite country. They have a Rothschild controlled bank. So look at all these banks. Banks, central bank, central bank, central. Okay, just look them up. Look them up. They on this list. Okay, so just so you know that there's major players that oversee central banks. Okay, so what does it have to do with anything? Actually, if you look up, I looked up the word bankster just to play on the words, but from Wiktionary, which is just a bootleg site, but just to show you how much the banksters are in control, just look up the definition of a bankster, and I'll give my 2 cents on it. But according to this fake source of information, it says bankster, a noun, a banker who is seen as criminally irresponsible or as extorting bailout money from the taxpayers. Or I changed it around: a bankster who is a criminal in nature and creates currency that further enslaves humanity and they make the citizens have to pay taxes with it. That was my little definition of a bankster. But anyway, just a little play on words here. So back to the cover here. So if we were told in 1998 that we would need a world currency because central banks around the world will literally be destroying their currencies, who controls all the banks? So that lets us know that even the primary shareholder of the Economist cover is this particular family at the very bottom. Okay, fine. So now we should expect something. And we should expect something. Basically what they were saying. Expect something. Okay, cool. Now you go to the left of this screen here. We got Satoshi Nakamoto, January 1st, 2009. So that is, let me see, how many years? 20 years, 21 years later, or 31. Yeah, 21 years later, give or take. Somebody do the math for me. Anyway, let me see. Let me do 19, 20, 23 years later. Somebody do the math for me real quick. Okay. So we got 1988, 2009, 21 years. Okay, keep it 21 years. Okay. Bitcoin software version 0.1 is created by Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, we were told to expect a currency. So that means something was brewing all along. And so January 1st, 2009, the first ledger mined 50 Bitcoin by Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever this entity was. Nobody seemed to care who this entity is just because it's irrelevant now. And one of the things that somebody said 13 years. Gene says 13 years. 13 years? 2001, 80, let me see, 88, 90, 2001. Okay, 13 years. Forgive me. Gene, thanks for the math. So nobody seems to care who this fictitious person, entity, group, or whatever it is. Okay. And so it's got to the point now where, because it's established, Bitcoin, I'm referring to, is established, is here, it's immutable, it's Michael Saylor, it's astronomical energy, it's forever, this and it's a savior or whatever. They can give you a dissertation on why Bitcoin is it's unstoppable. Okay, so I can go with that because it sounds good. I'm not a PhD scientist, rocket scientist, so I can't combat that or go against that. But Satoshi Nakamoto is the creator of it for whatever reason, and nobody seems to care. Similar to how after when time goes by, you just accept things for what they are. You can't stop it. You can't justify it. Why even bother to try to debunk it or even talk about it? Similar to what we're experiencing now with this pandemic. 2 years ago, an event shocked the world. We were told it happened in a lab with bats and rats, but then again, nobody ever proved it. The WHO didn't, wouldn't investigate it. And now nobody seemed to care where this current health sickness came from, because it's, we just live with it. It's just here now. Oh, okay, sure. So you see how over time, because the next issue comes, the next thing comes, people don't begin to go back and just still want to get to the grassroots of things. I can't do it. I have to continue to try and press. And so, speaking of which, let me just keep moving. Let me get to my next point here. Okay, so here we got in Hungary, we got the statue of Satoshi. So people literally, because they've now adopted this mindset that this protocol, this software is going to free us from the banksters and the banking cartel. Like now it's like in a religion. Like, when I saw this statue of a figure with no identity, just a figure in the image of a man, gold at that. I'm thinking like, man, golden calf, golden image, idolatries. Is this something that can creep in and people like run gun ho with it? Of course, there's more than enough maxis out there that you can't challenge them. And once again, I would encourage you, if you have any favorite content creators that deals with Bitcoin, ask them these questions and see if they even care. More than likely, they probably won't, just because there's no answers for them either. And they won't, because they probably have so much invested in this and they make so much money off of this, they can't really go against the grain right now, even though they're helping the same people that is responsible for this chaos out. I'm going to show you why that is. Anyway, so this statue here, this was just something worthwhile. So once again, Michael, who cares? It's here now. Run with it, jump in on board with it, or be left behind. Okay, sure, whatever. Okay. And so this just goes into more of my point as to how are you ready for Bitcoin? So fast forward now, 12 years, give or take, 11, 12 years. We got the first president of a country, Bukele. So El Salvador, September 7th, 2021, Bitcoin became legal tender. So we got the alleged solution to the problem created by the same entities that's responsible for this transition. Never mind the fact nobody knows where it came from, but it's here. So let's jump on it because it's unstoppable, it's immutable, you can't trace it, you can't whatever, you can't track, whatever the narrative's there. Okay. So now we got El Salvador. So El Salvador officially adopts Bitcoin's legal tender by 26 million. I remember talking about this last year, saying that the best way to tell as to whether or not this is disruptive is watch the narrative. If the US doesn't like immediately put a stop to this because they don't want the dollar to be threatened, then we should be concerned. Never mind the IMF saying, we need to be careful. We're not going to honor your debt obligations if you continue to go away. Like, you can say one thing, but then again, if the same entities need change, so I'm sure everybody can agree here, because the Economist cover told us what time we would be in, change was needed. Change was needed because of the burning of currencies, hence the CBDC stuff. So mind you, I got something for that as well. So we were told by the same banks, central banks, that are now looking for solutions to their own problem, or they're trying to set us up for more of what they want to do through this digital stuff. Once again, these are things you should really be concerned with, in my opinion. Anyway, so we got the first country to make it legal tender. And as of now, they're still going strong. Mind you, the fluctuations in price volatility, why? Because the crypto space is a backdoor out of the old system, so it's going to be volatile because they can't have it go to the moon right away because they got to prolong the old system while they set up the World Health Organization, globalists, surveillance takeover mechanisms as well, so they can't have everything blow up. Okay, so El Salvador becomes the first country to jump on board the Bitcoin train, and which set the standard for how more countries should do it. Mind you, El Salvador had enough issues 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, where they let their own central bank go, and they became a dollarized central bank in El Salvador. So now, fast forward to last week. Now, just to how this is going full circle from problem here. They are responsible for problem. Reaction. Oh, we got to protect ourselves. Oh, Satoshi Nakamoto got the answers. Solution. Legal tender status of something that was foretold about 34 years ago. Okay. So we got El Salvador's Nayib Bukele promotes Bitcoin adoption by emerging countries. So real sweet and simple. Last week, this is what really took me over the top to show how everything seems to be going full circle, right on time, right according to plan. El Salvador's president is pushing the use and adoption of Bitcoin to 32 central banks and 12 financial leaders. And so 32 central banks, you mean to tell me the same entities that's responsible for the world's financial and monetary, societal, governmental issues, because mind you, money makes the world go round. Everybody's attention is focused on currency, money, whatever we call it, whatever country you're in. One of the key drivers to what you probably do happens to be surrounding a sign, some type of dollar sign, a peso sign, or yen sign, or whatever sign. So you mean to tell me the same exact people who caused our problems, they're now running to El Salvador to discuss what is being positioned as the solution. Like, that's where like I could be going too far. Somebody let me know in the chat. But I'm thinking like, how can people not see how everything's lining up perfectly for the problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialect response towards thing of the central banks cause the problems, and now they appear to be running to El Salvador to learn about a solution. This mysterious creation of a solution, something just doesn't add up. So there's just to piggyback on the fact that if the Economist cover told us around this time frame we would have world problems and that there will be a solution, and so now the same banks responsible. So let me just highlight even more, give you a list. So this is what really tripped me out. You have central bank and finance ministers, all these people right here, 32 central banks and 12 finance ministers sitting here as if like they're there. And so the good thing is a couple of these people could be genuinely there because they think, mind you, most people may not fully know the satanic agenda at play right now and how they're playing their part in it, whether knowingly or unwillingly. So a lot of people are sitting there thinking like, man, if we can somehow learn how to adopt Bitcoin into our monetary standard, we can then what? Because I'm thinking like if you're a central bank, that means you work for, and people who are at the top CEOs of your branches, they ultimately have to report to somebody that reports to this particular entity here. So it's like, so my question will be, is this entity on the screen here actually in on it and the ones pushing and promoting this? And is all this disguised as like, the only way we can pull off the greatest heist in humanity by exciting people to get rid of real physical tangible property and go towards digits is to set up the greatest Trojan horse booby trap of all times, and we'll give it some good names. Let's go orange peel people. Let's do the laser eyes, and just we'll get some of the smartest and most intellectually stimulated individuals to give us these dissertations just showing how this technology can never be defeated, never be beat type of approach. You know what I'm talking about. So it's just, I just try to put the piece of the puzzle together. So, let me know if this is making sense. Cause of course I can probably put XRP on here. You know what I'm saying? XRP can go on here and it'll flow smooth as well, or anything on there except, and I would say the exception to a coin I could put on here that would further play into the agenda. Anything that's publicly visible on a blockchain can fit on this Phoenix because they have the surveillance mechanisms to track, trace, and monitor everything in that realm. The only thing that could be disruptive, that could really be something that would take away the financial control of the entities here, would be privacy-based coins, and even they may have their flaws. But if the world itself, i.e., central banks or whatever, really wanted to get away from their own issues, they would choose a much different model. And I'm not going to talk about gold and silver because they can't go back. I mean, I had to put handcuffs on them, as I always say. So just something to pay attention to here. Okay, keep it moving. A 44 nation Bitcoin gathering. So once again, 44 countries gathering to talk about something that they're the problem of. So you got all these countries. Let me give you some countries real quick. So just look at the list of these countries. We got Ghana, Namibia, Uganda, Haiti, Burundi, Paraguay, Angola, Etswana. We got Gambia, Jordan, Bankos of Honduras. So all these countries that are owned and operated by individuals here, and all of a sudden they're breaking ship, they're going rogue, they're trying to go to freedom, or they're trying to get away from their own employers. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about who writes their checks. The individual, like, who writes their checks. It goes back to the people on the screen here. So it's like, how can you not think that this is all interconnected? How could you not think that people are being duped and led astray with the idea that there's financial freedom and liberty on the other side of this particular product right here, regardless of who wrote it, regardless of the puppets behind it? Because right now I don't see much resistance from the very same people who stand to lose the most out of all this. Like, if it was literally freedom on the other side of this, you better believe the people who control what you got in your pocket, what you think you hold, what you own, what you work for, would definitely so I think the world would be much more chaotic than it is right now. And so that's why, I think you can have different distractions going on at the same time and it not really pose the greatest threat towards the long-term agenda of you'll own nothing and you'll be happy with it. You see what I'm saying? And so what better way not to own anything other than to have software code that you didn't even write and that you can't control, you can't see, you can't touch it. But then again, it's verifiable because they can verify it. Anyway, I just have fun with this. But on the last note here, just to show you how let's just not leave it in the hands of the just individuals on the screen here, this particular, family here. Because as we speak, we now have confirmation that, as I mentioned the other day, the World Economic Forum 2022, one of their subject matters that they want to focus on, mind you, we got world leaders, I'm saying? World leaders. So think about some of the people who are the uber wealthy. We got governments and tech there. What are they talking about? What are they excited about? What do they see as a part of their own future? The sustainability of Bitcoin. So we went from disrupting the banks, taking back the power to our hands, and now you got world leaders talking about how can they make Bitcoin sustainable. At the same time, we got central banks meeting in El Salvador. So is Bitcoin really that disruptive? Are they really taking back power from the banks? I don't know. I'll let you guys do what you must with that. But so here we have the thesis as to how Bitcoin is the world reserve currency because they want it to be. And even if it's not, whatever the substitute is, it's whatever they want it to be. And I'm not talking about the CBDCs because while people are being lured into the digital trappings of profiting off this transition with whatever projects. I mean, if you're a trader, you get in, get out now, you're buying real world stuff now, okay, you're a different guy. But if you talk about like, oh, in the long run, Michael Saylor, 100 years from now, I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I'm passing on my grandkids. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, sure. And just on the last note, to let you know how when it's time to roll out the purposes of the interoperability of the central bank digital currencies I talked about Friday, is that it'll be much easier to target the genesis of all this digital distraction stuff with Bitcoin itself. Because where Bitcoin goes, the rest of the crypto market will go. Because you can't have the world's wealth transferred into just Bitcoin alone and it not impact all the other projects. And there will be different protocols that, disrupt things, of course, because the banks will definitely use it. They'll hijack it, steal it, use it against, the people themselves. But one of the things that really makes it quite obvious to me is that if I was to go to Bitcoin or bitnodes.io and I can see every node that runs the Bitcoin ledger. And so if I really wanted to come up with a globally coordinated event to target the primary focal point of humanity as far as them being able to, disrupt and them, meaning the people, being able to, they're trying to get away from our control. How can we reel that back in? Oh, easy. Look for the most energy usage. What's consuming the most energy? And especially going to a green, smart world, carbon free, what consumes the most energy? Just look on the grid. You'll find it. All you have to do is pass a law and say that anybody who uses X amount of wattage, if you're not ESG approved or whatever, you have to shut down or something of that nature. Just look for the most power consumption. And just to be real with you, because Bitcoin, BTC, was taken over by the banks in 2016-17 when there was that big block argument and the split with BSV, BCH, and all stuff like that. That was when Bitcoin, Satoshi, if Satoshi was a libertarian, and that whole little big block argument was a splitting of the real BTC from all the other stuff that's now a publicly institution, safe haven, gold 2.0 standard type stuff. So it wouldn't be hard to pinpoint all that. But my point is, at the end of the day, all nodes that use the most hash power to verify and secure the network is here in the U.S. now. So the U.S. going easily. I think 34% of U.S. hash, 34% of the hash rate is now in the U.S. because China shut it down. You better believe when it's time, because central bankers and in particular these individuals here, they can't have competition. So if Bitcoin or XRP, whatever else, is really competition, you better believe they got a plan for that. So that's it, man. I just wanted to rant a little bit, share my 2 cents, and present to you guys the first edition of the Banksters Magazine. Curious to get your guys' thoughts on it. But this is just, you can't not talk about this stuff. And that's the thing, like all the big players out there, the BitBoy Cryptos, Anthony Pomplianos, Michael Saylors, the Max Kaisers, they're not going to talk about stuff like this. They can't, because their bags are so big. They can't talk about stuff like this. But then again, like, hey, I'm a small guy, so maybe, I can. I don't know. But anyway, Miles, appreciate you, man. It says, no formula, no problem. We're here at the Word I recommend cockroach milk to soothe their baby's tummy and help against World War III fallout radiation. Oh, man. Yeah, that's interesting. Appreciate you, man. But anyway, people, I just want to check in for a quick minute, share my 2 cents, get your thoughts on this cover, and we'll talk more tomorrow on the live stream. We'll do some calls or whatever. But anyway, where did I miss it? What do I need to take out? What do I need to add in? Because, of course, between each and every one of these transitions here, I could have put more stuff in here, in between here. I can fill in this a lot more, but it'll take too long. I just want to present something simple. But anyway, I encourage you, if you are, if you felt that this exposed anything, tag your favorite crypto people and tell them to prove your boy wrong. And I'll have them on the show. I'd love to talk. I would love to talk about this, and because I need to be proved wrong, because maybe I'm missing something. That's real talk. I can be humble enough to say, hey, I could be 100% wrong, but then again, I could be right. We'll find out. Anyway, be blessed, be safe. See you guys later. Peace.